Hey, Dr. Nick and Billy, love your work and, love the work you do and deeply appreciate the time you give and sacrifice you both make to give us this wonderful resource. I work as a mental health nurse. I generally work in inpatient, acute and pediatric intensive care unit settings. I have also done some work in a child and adolescent ward. I have seen and experienced the violence and aggression of men and boys in healthcare settings. I've read the backgrounds. I've sat in the court hearings for assaults, violating IVOs. I have had grown men threaten to rape me, kill me, told that's not a threat, it's a promise. Had inappropriate and unwanted remarks about my appearance. Perhaps the worst was having a 6'4" male tell me, "Do I have to punch you to give me what I want?" While I was 22 weeks pregnant with a co-worker leaping in front of me to protect me from a raised fist and from the incoming man. Cannot agree with you more that there is a desperate need for change. The age of these men is getting younger. We are starting to see young men, 19 to 23 years old, with extensive history of violence, aggression, carrying a weapon and multiple charges. But in sharing all the scary things that is happening in our healthcare setting, I did want to use my experience as an opportunity to encourage other listeners to the power they do have. In these scary moments at work, there have been other consumers who have watched, laughed and egged on these men. But there have been men, not just the alpha type, who use their voice to call out disrespectful and harmful behaviour. Hey man, don't speak to her like that. Can you show some respect to the nurses? Hey, you're starting to be disrespectful. You don't need to speak like that. These male consumer who have stepped in made a simpler remark, having literally diffused situations, resulting in it ceasing verbal abuse and threats. Nothing fancy said, no threats made, no power struggle or stand over tactics, just a few simple words. One voice is powerful. One voice in a situation makes a difference. We can all make that difference. While listening to your latest episode, you said at Girl Dads, you have skin in the game. I'm a mum of 2 boys. We've got skin in the game too. You mentioned the study of boys and girls' babies being... You mentioned the study of boys and girl babies being treated differently based on the colour they wear. Girls get more comfort, but boys get a pass on antisocial behaviour. But what about the part where boys don't receive the comfort? Something that has concerned me has been the stigma and increased aggression boys face from a young age. I attended a mother's group regularly and once had a grandmother figure pick up my younger son and remove him from the play area as he was crawling too aggressively around the girls. He was 9 months old at the time. I've had other dads jump in to tell off my boys for throwing a ball up into the air or standing on chairs while eating, accidentally closing a cubby house door on another child's finger. Stop doing that, get down, no more, that's enough, with a finger being waved in their face, all spoken in a loud authoritarian tone while I have been present or nearby. I've heard another dad tell his son to punch my 2-year-old because his son was scared of the roar my son was making while pretending to be a dinosaur. In my 4 short years of motherhood, my boys have experienced stigma, aggression, harshness for no reason other than being a boy. I'm determined to not allow it to shape their character or their view of boys and men, but have noticed how powerful those influences have been. We practice gentleness, self-control, thoughtfulness and kindness. At the moment, my boys pick flowers for other mums in the playground. They check in on scratched knees and offer to kiss the boo-boos. They hold the door open for others, especially mums with prams, and offer their hands to help younger kids and girls off the slide. These are precious, gentle souls. My eldest has ADHD and a significant speech delay. He's endured a fair bit of teasing and exclusion around his speech issues, and I've begun to notice a shift in his behaviour and play when around peers. He mimics other boys' behaviour for acceptance. He will join in with teasing and excluding of others. At times, he will participate in fighting games. 9 out of 10 times he walks away, but the last few encounters on the playground he joins in. I'm always watching and jumping in to connect and redirect. If it isn't successful, I'll then create a game to change the narrative of play and get everyone involved. And if they want to? How do I address the desire for acceptance and willingness to participate in play he knows is wrong to some extent? How do I respond when the influence of violence and aggression is out of our control? How do we respond when mothers and fathers watch their children hit ours and don't step in? When they're watching their kid intentionally exclude and tease and then return their attention to their phone? Do we step in and call it out, or do we just remove our kids from harm's way? I'm constantly conflicted on what to do when it comes to other parents and kids. They start school next year, and I'm slightly terrified to think of how this world may shape this gentle kid into one I don't recognise. Thank you for taking time to read this. I've got everything crossed that this is one gets answered. Billy, can I get you specifically to actually ask a bit around, do we remove our kids or do we call it out?
Yep, definitely.
Just as
what do you do?
Everything else?
What do you do?
You call it out.
What do you do? What do you do if one of the girls is on the playground and someone, let's just say a boy, is being too rough?
Yeah.
What do you do?
I'd have a chat to the kid.
How would you do it?
I'd just approach him gently.
Yeah. What would you say?
Oh, like we talked about, like it's, hey, mate. Like I'd try and connect with him first.
Yeah, how would you do that?
Hey, mate, I don't know. Oh, like he's playing rough. Oh, hey, mate. I'd probably honestly, I'll be really honest. Just, hey, mate, gentle hands, just soften it up a bit. Because I also don't know who's watching and what's going on. So it's
why are you worried about that?
Oh, I don't know. I don't want to, you don't want to, if I know the kid, it's different. If I know the parents, it's way different.
Pretend you don't know.
I'd just be like, oh, hey, mate, gentle hands, and just look to the parent. I'd probably make eye contact with the parent, mum or dad. It's like, gentle hands, mate.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'd do that. I don't know.
What if parents not in sight?
I'd probably take my kid out of the play if the kid didn't stop playing rough.
It's just fine to do.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? It's fine to walk away from that situation. And I do both, if I'm honest. Like, but, I've been thinking about this so much that I was at the water slide at our local pool, and these boys were just like speed of lightning down the slide and straight back upstairs and they were just cutting line, like not even seeing the other kids they were cutting past, but they were just they'd jump in front of a kid who was sitting down on the slide about to go, because they were like, we're going as fast as we can and just doing hot laps of the circuit. And Evie's wanted to go on, and to be 100% honest, I was intentionally, my first thought was I'm going to steer her away from going on because I don't want to deal with those boys. And then we got up there and I knew they were coming and they shot past her, but I just stepped in front of them, got down to their level and looked at them, made sure my eye level was the same as theirs, and just said, boys, I can see how much fun you're having, but you got to line up. Like, all these people in front of you, they've been waiting longer. And they just kind of looked up at me and then lined up. There wasn't any intention in it. Do you know what I mean? They didn't even realise. They didn't see anyone else. They were just shooting through. The problem is that as they were doing it, the line started becoming chaotic and everyone was like, these kids don't respect the line. Why would I respect it? They weren't intentionally doing it, but they just needed guidance and connection first. They never did it again. Every time they went down, me and Evie celebrated the tricks they were doing on the water slide and everything like that. We shouted out and cheered for them and all those things. And what I was trying to do is make them shift from how positive an experience that was. But I also, heaps of time, just pull Evie out of it. Do you know what I mean? And I'm all really aware of my bias that, I get really worked up with the Jack Reachers of the world that are being unhealthy. I really struggle to yield my aggression and anger at those. But with little kids and mums and all that kind of stuff, if I try and I'm really good at checking my own emotions first. But
check your own emotions first, Billy.
Yeah, but because of my aggression and my stuff in the past, that's, and I've talked about that a lot, so that's not helpful. Keep going on. But yeah, it's really interesting. Just quickly, the reason I am doing pediatrics is over 20 years ago, I worked on an adult psych ward. The reason I didn't become a child psychiatrist is 6 months on a pediatric inpatient ward, and it was really sad because I thought most kids would be trying to get out of there and break out. Most kids are trying to get in there, into those places, inpatient, involuntary wards, because that's where it's safe and that's where it's helpful. But I didn't do it because I want to meet those kids earlier in their journey.
This podcast is brought to you by Guiding Growing Minds, a social enterprise that aims to give all children the best opportunity to reach their potential and succeed in living rich and meaningful lives.